Metalheads, it is Blackmetalwerewolf making a brand new video for you this week. And today what I would like to talk about are people who hate metal. But more interestingly, people who hate metal who I suspect have never actually listened to it, and then when questioned, they will give completely made up reasons as to why they hate metal. Now, I'm willing to bet that most metalheads at one point or another have had a conversation with the topic of music has come up, and they've said, you know, I'm really into metal, or they give specific bands, and someone at some point just had to get in the jab about how much they hate metal for whatever reason they happen to give. Now, personally, I'm starting to suspect that most people who claim to hate metal have probably never actually listened to it, and their reasons to hating it are pretty much entirely made up. I'll give you an example from my life personally. Now, I believe at the time, I was a teenager. I want to say I was around 14, 15. I can't quite remember the age. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I was having a conversation with someone and they asked what kind of music I was into. And at that age, I was hardcore into Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson. And so that's what I said. You know, I really like these two dudes. And they said, oh, I hate them. Their music is terrible. I'm like, oh. You know, that's a pretty hostile response. Any particular reason why you hate their music so much? And like, yeah, I hate their music so much because they sing about raping boys. And at the time I was like, okay, so you clearly have never listened to their music, and you're making things up to justify your hatred to something that you've never listened to. Now, if you don't like them as people, Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson, okay, fine. You think Rob Zombie makes crappy movies, or you think Marilyn Manson's a bit of a weirdo. Fair enough, Rob Zombie's movies aren't that great, and Marilyn Manson is a bit of a weirdo. But to go to such extreme to hate on music that you've never legitimately listened to for reasons you completely made up, that seems a little extreme to me. And ever since that encounter, I have tried to figure out why someone would go to such extreme lengths to make up wild lies in their own head to justify hating something that they've never actually listened to. And the only reason I've ever really been able to come up with, and I don't like using the word stigma, but I guess in this situation it's the only word that I can really think to use, is that there's a stigma to liking metal or being a metalhead, that the music is for delinquents and troublemakers, bad people, weirdos, it'll make you unpopular, that kind of shit. Of course, most metalheads know that's bullshit, but to the general public, to some people I suppose that is still their perception of metal and metalheads. I don't think that's a good reason to make up lies in your own head to justify hating something, but I suppose there are some people who at a young age, a parent or a school teacher or religious official, whatever you want to call them, may have put the idea in a little kid's head that metal is bad and it's satanic and delinquency and all that nonsense. So maybe it's just preconditioning from a young age for someone to just totally dismiss it even though they've never actually listened to it. I also think it's quite interesting the use of the word hate when it comes to people speaking their dislike of metal. Like, I understand that when it comes to extreme words like love and hate, people use them very frivolously. It's like when you see someone eating French fries, they're like, oh man, I love French fries. It's like, I like French fries too, but I don't love them. Like, to me, the point of love, it's such an extreme emotion, the time and effort you have to put into liking it kind of exceeds my like of a French fry. Same with hate, right? The amount of time and effort and investment you have to investigate into something or someone to realize that everything about this person bothers you. See, that is hate. Like, there are some people in my life, I can't even fucking look at them. It's like, I dislike this person so much. I've gotten to know them, everything about them bothers me. I think they're lazy, I think they're an asshole, I think they're a shitty worker, I think they got a bad attitude. All these things culminate together into me disliking someone to such an extreme degree. Hate. But then we have someone who just has never even listened to metal, just crying how much they hate it. Granted, it's probably just them frivolously using the word hate, but to me I think maybe people should just be a bit more conscious of the words they use. It's like, I say I hate pickles. It's a vegetable. I don't hate it. I don't like it on my burger, but I don't think I would put that much time and effort into hating a pickle. Now, some of you may be watching this and saying to yourself, Well, what's the difference between someone saying they hate metal without listening to it and a metalhead saying they hate all these other genres of music? Because an awful lot of metalheads do decry their hatred for pop, rap, country, those kinds of music. Is there a difference? Now, like I've said before, obviously people use extreme words very frivolously, and that is a legitimate point to discuss. But on the other hand, I do think there is a bit of a difference. So, metal gets little to no television or radio time. It just doesn't, at least not in North America. You'd be lucky if you lived in a market where there just happens to be a radio station that gives metal or hard rock its own little slot in their schedule, but for the most part it's pretty much not there. So the average person saying they hate metal have been exposed to what? A couple Metallica songs on the radio or television, maybe some Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, maybe some Ozzy, and that's pretty much it. So someone listening to Enter Sandman on the radio and deciding they don't like all metal, to me is a little extreme to hate all of it and to make up reasons to hate it based on one crappy Metallica song. Whereas metalheads, anytime you've ever turned on a music station on television or the radio, it is country, pop, or rap. So a lot of metalheads have been exposed to enough of this music to be able to say, I'm not a fan of these. So, once again, using the word hatred is a bit frivolous, but I do think they've been exposed to enough to know that this is something I don't like, I'm going with metal. And enough to say that, like, they're not making up reasons, right? They said, I turn on the radio, it's the same crap over and over again, these are my reasons for disliking it. It's not like, I listened to one shitty Metallica song, therefore I hate all of metal. I do think there's a bit of a difference. But I think I've gone on and on enough about this subject for one video, so now I want to get your guys' opinion on all of this. Do you think people who claim they hate metal have actually ever listened to it, and do they have legitimate reasons? Or are you like me and think that they probably never listened to it and they're just making up reasons as to why they hate metal? Do you think metalheads are very much in the same camp as these people, or do you think there's a difference the way I explained it? I'd love to get your guys' opinion on all of this, so please leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think of this. And now, like my past videos, I either do an album recommendation or an album warning, and today is another recommendation. The band is Hellripper, the album is The Affair of the Poisons. So a couple months ago I got a Hellripper t-shirt in the Metalhead box, and I wanted to check out the band to see what their music is like. And goddamn is it good. I wasn't quite sure what to expect when getting into this, but it's very dark, it's very heavy, very fast, and very thrashy, and it has a lot of Motorhead inspiration. I was able to pick up on that pretty quickly, so obviously a lot of metalheads will notice that and appreciate it. My personal favorite tracks on the album are Vampire's Grave and The Hanging Tree, but overall this album is good from start to finish. So once again, that is Hellripper, The Affair of the Poisons. Check it out, I think you will really enjoy it. So that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of today's video, checking out some of my past videos, and sharing them with a few of your friends while you're at it. If you want to keep up with me on a more daily basis, you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I also have a P.O. box open. All of that info is down in the description. So overall, guys, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to stay brutal.